Inside the ship, Commander Han regarded the human scientist with surprise and suspicion. "You understand our technology? You know our purpose here?" "Impossible for such a primitive species," Han said. "You understand so little about Earth and its creatures," Dr. Song replied evenly. "That's why you're failing to capture one small wolverine." Han's eyes narrowed. "Explain." "Your hunt is damaging our ecosystem and attracting government attention. Soon, military forces will investigate these weather anomalies. Is that the first contact your people want with humans?" The commander considered her words carefully. "What do you propose?" "First, stop the climate manipulation. Second, listen to what I can tell you about the Wolverine. There are reasons it's defeating your technology that you haven't considered." Meanwhile, Ghost continued his defiant defense of his territory. The old Wolverine had suffered injuries from the aliens' weapons, but each encounter taught him new ways to attack the strange intruders. His legendary endurance, the ability to travel enormous distances through deep snow without tiring, kept him one step ahead of the hunters. The galaxy watched with fascination as the broadcast continued. What had begun as simple entertainment had become an unexpected drama. Viewers across 17 systems witnessed something unprecedented: the mighty star hunters struggling against one small but indomitable Earth creature. And in their failure, they found something more valuable than an easy victory: a renewed sense of respect for the wild, untamable spirit that could exist even on a supposedly primitive world. Commander Han received an urgent message from his superiors. The broadcast of their Earth hunt had captivated audiences across the galaxy, but not in the way they had anticipated. Viewers were fascinated by the Wolverine's defiance, a tiny creature outsmarting the famous star hunters. The message was clear: capture the Wolverine now or face disgrace. In the meeting chamber aboard the ship, Dr. Song faced the alien commander. Behind her stood Bo, nervously clutching research equipment. "Your methods are destroying our ecosystem," Dr. Song explained. "But there's a better way. Let me show you why Earth's creatures deserve your respect, not your trophy cases." She activated a holographic display showing footage of Ghost throughout the years, surviving blizzards that killed larger animals, fighting off a pack of wolves, to defend a kill, digging through 6 feet of frozen ground to reach food. "Wolverines represent the true spirit of Earth," she continued. "They're not the biggest or strongest by mass, but they possess qualities your hunts fail to measure: adaptability, tenacity, and fearlessness." Commander Han studied the footage with growing interest. "These traits you describe, they remind me of ancient stories about the first star hunters. Perhaps that's why this hunt matters so much to your viewers," Dr. Song suggested. "They see something familiar in this creature's refusal to submit." Officer Jin entered the chamber with urgent news. "Commander, we've detected the Wolverine approaching our position. It appears to be challenging us directly." Outside the ship, Ghost stood in the clearing. The old Wolverine's fur was matted with blood from minor wounds, but his stance showed no weakness. He faced the massive alien vessel and released a guttural growl that carried through the cold air. "It's coming to us?" Han asked in disbelief. "What strategy is this?" "It's not strategy," Dr. Song explained. "It's nature. Wolverines don't just defend territory, they actively confront threats to drive them away permanently. Ghost isn't running anymore. He's telling you to leave." Commander Han made a decision that would change the course of galactic hunting forever. "I will face this creature myself, not to capture it, but to acknowledge its spirit." The commander stepped from the ship, wearing only light armor. The assembled hunters watched in shocked silence as Han approached the Wolverine carefully, carrying no weapons. Ghost tensed, his powerful muscles ready to launch his compact body at the alien. For a long moment, predator faced predator across the snow-covered clearing. Then, slowly, Commander Han knelt and placed his hand on the ground, a hunter's gesture of respect. The Wolverine held its ground, neither retreating nor attacking. Its dark eyes seemed to evaluate the alien with fierce intelligence. After what seemed like an eternity, Ghost turned and trotted toward the forest edge. At the tree line, the Wolverine looked back once, then disappeared into the shadows. Hunt is concluded, Han announced when he returned to the ship. Prepare for departure. Without a capture? Jin asked, confused. Some victories come through recognition, not domination, Han replied. Inform our superiors that Earth is now classified as a protected realm. Its creatures possess a spirit that should be preserved, not conquered. As the alien ship rose into the clouds, Dr. Song and Bo watched from their research station. Do you think they'll really protect Earth? Bo asked. I think they learned something valuable today, Dr. Song replied. Sometimes the most impressive strength isn't in size or technology, but in refusal to surrender. In his mountain den, Ghost tended to his wounds. The old Wolverine had defended his territory against the strangest intruders he had ever encountered, just as he had defended it against bears, wolves, and the bitter cold for 15 winters. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but the Wolverine would face them with the same unyielding determination, the quality that had earned the respect of hunters from across the stars. As the alien ship disappeared from Earth's atmosphere, the EO broadcast concluded with Commander Han's final message to the galaxy. We came seeking to demonstrate superiority, but found instead a reminder of what makes a true hunter. Not the ease of victory, but the courage to recognize worthy adversaries, no matter their size. I'll write Part 1. The rejection in approximately 800 words using simple English and third-person style with Korean names as requested. The Earthship Horizon glided silently through space, its silver hull reflecting distant stars as it approached. The massive Galactic Council station. Inside the ship's diplomatic quarters, Commander Gina Kim adjusted her formal blue uniform one last time. After 5 years of preparation and negotiations, humanity's moment had arrived. Commander, we're docking in 10 minutes, said Lieutenant Suho Park through the communication system. Gina nodded to herself. Thank you, Lieutenant. Is the delegation ready? Yes, Commander. Professor Hyun and Director Bomi are waiting in the transfer bay. The Horizon docked with a gentle thud. Gina met her team, Professor Daehyun Hyun, Earth's leading xenobiologist, and Director Bomi Lee, head of interspecies relations. Their faces showed a mix of hope and worry. Remember, Gina said quietly, we represent all of humanity today. They walked through the connecting tunnel into the council station. The air smelled different, a mix of strange chemicals and processed oxygen designed to accommodate 12 different alien species. A tall, blue-skinned representative with 4 arms greeted them. Welcome to Centauri Station. I am Liaison Officer Metu. Please follow me to the council chamber. As they walked through wide corridors, aliens of various shapes and sizes moved past them. Some looked almost human with 2 arms and legs. Others floated on gravity platforms or slithered along specialized tracks. Most turned to stare at the humans, Earth's first official delegation to the Galactic Council. They're watching us like we're animals in a zoo, whispered Bomi. To many of them we might as well be, Professor Hyun replied. Most council species have been spacefaring for thousands of years. We've barely managed a century. The council chamber was enormous, a perfect circle with 12 raised platforms surrounding a central speaking area. Each platform held representatives from member species. Some sat on chairs, others stood in special environmental bubbles, and one species hovered in anti-gravity fields. Metu guided them to the center of the room. The Earth delegation may present their case when the Grand Speaker signals. A tall, thin alien with gray skin and large pupilless eyes rose from the highest platform. Grand Speaker Tolo of the Akarans, Gina remembered from her briefings. The Bibe, oldest and most respected council species. Earth representatives, the Grand Speaker's voice came through their translation devices. You seek membership in the Galactic Council. This body has reviewed your application materials. You may now address any questions or concerns. Gina stepped forward. Honorable Council, Earth thanks you for this opportunity. Humanity is young compared to your civilizations, but we learn quickly. We offer our creativity, our adaptability, and our unique perspective. We seek to join you as partners in peaceful exploration and shared knowledge. Murmurs filled the chamber. Not all of them sounded friendly. The representative from the Varaxian collective, a species resembling large insects, clicked forward. Humans have a violent history. Your planet has seen continuous warfare. Your technology development focuses heavily on weapons. How can such an aggressive species be trusted? Before Gina could answer, another council member, a floating cloud of particles contained in an energy field, pulsed brightly. Your species adapts too rapidly. You went from primitive flight to space travel in less than a century. Such unchecked development is dangerous. For 3 hours the questions continued. Each council species seemed to find something concerning about humanity. Gina and her team answered every question honestly, sometimes defending Earth but also acknowledging humanity's flaws. We don't claim to be perfect, Gina said, her voice growing tired. But we are committed to learning and growing. We believe that with your guidance, humans could become valuable members of the galactic community. Finally, Grand Speaker Tolo raised a long-fingered hand for silence. The Council will now vote on Earth's application. Gina felt her heart pounding as each representative cast their vote. One by one, lights on their platforms turned red. All 12, a unanimous decision. Earth representative, the Grand Speaker announced, the Council has reached its decision. Your application for membership is denied. A heavy silence filled the chamber. The Council finds that humans are too unpredictable, dangerously adaptive, and evolutionarily unsuited for civilized governance at this time. Your species must demonstrate greater stability before reconsideration. Gina fought to keep her face calm, though she noticed something curious. Behind the diplomatic words, she sensed something unexpected in many of the alien representatives. Fear. We respect the Council's decision, she said formally, though disappointment weighed heavily on her. Earth thanks you for your consideration. They returned to the horizon. Professor Hyun spoke quietly. Did you notice? They're afraid of us. Yes, Gina replied. Not our weapons or technology. They fear something more fundamental about who we are. Director Bomi's eyes narrowed. So what do we do now? Gina looked back at the Council station growing smaller through the viewing port. We return to Earth. The world leaders need to hear what happened today and what wasn't said. She didn't yet know that Earth's response would shake the foundations of the Galactic Council and change humanity's path among the stars forever. The message from Earth's Leadership Council appeared on screens across the planet 3 weeks after Commander Gina Kim's return from Centauri Station. President Han stood at a simple wooden podium, flanked by representatives from all major nations. His face looked tired but determined. Behind closed doors, Earth's leaders had debated fiercely for days. Some wanted to try again with the Galactic Council. Others suggested isolation. A few even called for military preparation. In the end, they chose a different path. The broadcast began at noon Greenwich time. Billions watched as President Han spoke directly to camera. People of Earth, as you know, our representatives returned from Centauri Station with difficult news. The Galactic Council has rejected humanity's application for membership. Screens across the planet showed footage of Gina and her team's return, their faces solemn as they stepped from their ship. We have carefully considered our response. Today, we send a message not just to the Council, but to all spacefaring civilizations. The camera pulled back to show Director Tai-Ho Kwan of Earth's Diplomatic Corps stepping forward. He would deliver the actual message, as his team had crafted the exact wording that all 12 Council translation systems would interpret correctly. To the honored members of the Galactic Council and all space-traveling species, Director Kwan began. Earth acknowledges your decision regarding our application. We respect your right to determine membership in your organization. He paused, his voice becoming firmer. However, we feel it necessary to issue this single, formal warning. Should any conflict arise between our civilizations in the future, we strongly advise you to retreat. For your own safety and preservation, run. The message was short. Many humans watching felt confused. It didn't sound like a threat exactly. More like advice? In her small apartment in Seoul, Dr. Mina Yoon watched the broadcast with special interest. As Earth's leading xenobiologist, she had spent the last 5 years studying the biological differences between humans and the council species. Her research had reached a breakthrough just days before. The morning after the broadcast, she received an urgent call from the Global Science Directorate. Dr. Yoon, your research has been classified at the highest level. Please report to Facility 7 immediately. At the Underground Research Center, she found herself in a room with military officials and government representatives. Dr. Yoon, General Junho Lee said, "We believe your research explains why the Council rejected us, and why our warning might actually mean something to them." Dr. Yoon nodded. "I've been studying stress responses across species. Humans are unique. When threatened, Council species either freeze, flee, or fight in predictable patterns. But humans..." She displayed a chart on the room's main screen. "We do something different. We adapt. We improvise. We change tactics mid-fight. And most importantly, we get better under pressure." "That's just adrenaline," someone said. "No," Dr. Yoon replied. "It's much more. Council species experience decreasing cognitive function under stress. Humans experience the opposite: increased creativity, faster decision-making, and heightened physical capabilities. And unlike council species, we can sustain this state." General Lee leaned forward. "You're saying we're built differently?" "I'm saying that what the council fears is biological. They evolved for stability. We evolved for adaptability." Across the galaxy, the council's response to Earth's message was immediate. Most dismissed it as empty human bravado. A few wondered if the primitive species had lost their minds. But on Centauri Station, the ancient Belluri representative, a being who had watched 1,000 species rise and fall, quietly accessed Dr. Yoon's research through intelligence networks. What the Belluri found disturbed him deeply. Human neural pathways under stress showed patterns his species had seen only twice before in their million-year history. Both times, those species had either destroyed themselves or become unstoppable forces in the galaxy. He sent an urgent message to the Grand Speaker. "The human warning is not a threat. It is a courtesy." 2 days later, Council spies intercepted communications from Earth's military command. Training exercises were increasing. But oddly, they weren't preparing for war. They were practicing adaptation, deliberately putting soldiers in impossible situations and teaching them to improvise solutions. In her lab, Dr. Yoon continued her work. She didn't know that her research had been seen by council eyes, or that several species were now watching humanity with new understanding. Warning had been delivered. Now all they could do was wait to see if anyone would test it. The Jupiter mining station hung like a silver spider in space, its 8 long arms extending to the asteroids it harvested. Captain Do-Hyun Lee watched through the viewport of the Earth defense vessel Resilience as they approached. Something was wrong. The normal shuttle traffic was missing. "Captain, we're detecting 6 vessels in blockade formation around the mining station," reported Lieutenant Mina Choi from her monitoring station. "They're not human ships." Do-Hyun's face remained calm, though his mind raced. "Magnify and identify." The screen showed sleek, purple-hulled ships with distinctive wedge shapes. Mina checked her database. "They're Valari vessels, sir. Council species." "Open communications," Do-Hyun ordered. "All channels, all known Valari frequencies." The communications. Officer Ensign Jiho Park worked his console. "Channel open, sir." Do-Hyun stood straight. "This is Captain Do-Hyun Lee of the Earth Defense Vessel Resilience. We request dialogue with the Valari commander regarding your presence at the Jupiter mining station." The screen remained blank for a full minute before flickering to life. A Valari appeared, humanoid but with gray-purple skin and a crest of bony ridges where hair would be on a human. "Human vessel," the Valari said. "This is Commander Trex of the Valari Enforcement Fleet. This mining operation violates Valari mineral rights in this system." Do-hyun kept his voice level. Commander, Earth has maintained these mining operations for 15 years. The Galactic Council recognized our solar system as human territory in the Proxima Accords. The Valari Collective did not sign those accords. Commander Trex replied coldly. You will cease operations and withdraw. On the bridge, Chief Engineer Sung-Ho Kim moved closer to Do-hyun. Captain, he whispered, we're receiving an emergency transmission from the mining station. The Valari boarded 6 hours ago. They're holding 37 miners hostage. Do-hyun's jaw tightened slightly. Commander Trex, we have received distress calls from our people. Release them immediately. The Valari's ridges darkened, a sign of anger in their species. Your miners are being held for trespassing. Withdraw your vessel now or face consequences. Do-hyun glanced at his tactical officer. Lieutenant Jiwoo Kang subtly shook her head. The Resilience was outgunned 3-1. We request negotiation under Galactic Common Law, Do-hyun said, buying time. The Valari commander made a dismissive gesture. You are not council members. You have no standing. Without warning, one of the Valari ships fired. The energy beam struck near the Resilience, close enough to rock the ship but not cause damage. A warning shot, Commander Trex said. The next will not miss. You have 1 hour to withdraw. The screen went dark. Battle stations, Do-hyun ordered calmly. But no weapons active yet. The bridge crew moved with practiced precision. Lieutenant Jiwoo checked their limited weapons. Sir, we can't fight 6 Valari warships. We won't, Do-hyun replied. He turned to Chief Engineer Sung-Ho. What mining equipment do we have aboard? Sung-Ho looked confused. Standard package, sir. 3 industrial lasers for cutting asteroid rock, 2 magnetic grapples, a dozen remote mining drones. Can the lasers be modified to target ships? Understanding dawned on Sung-Ho's face. They're not designed as weapons, but with some reconfiguring, yes. They won't penetrate Valari shields, but they could blind their sensors temporarily. Do it, Do-hyun ordered. And the magnetic grapples? Strong enough to move 10-ton asteroids, or to disrupt ship maneuvering? Sung-Ho nodded slowly. With power diverted from non-essential systems? Possibly. Do-hyun turned to communications. Ensign Jiho, contact the mining station. Find out exactly where our people are being held. For the next 50 minutes, the crew of the Resilience worked, frantically. Mining equipment never designed for combat was converted into makeshift weapons. The mining drones were reprogrammed. When Commander Trex's face appeared on screen again, Do-hyun was ready. Your time has expired, human. Will you withdraw? We cannot abandon our people, Do-hyun replied. But we have a counter-proposal. Behind him, Lieutenant Jiwoo silently signaled that the modified systems were ready. Before Do-hyun could continue, the Valari commander laughed. Your stubbornness is typical of your species. We will teach you respect. 2 Valari ships broke formation, moving toward the Resilience with weapons charging. All hands, execute plan adaptation, Do-hyun said calmly. What followed shocked the observing council representatives who had come to witness the Valari lesson. The human ship didn't retreat or fight conventionally. Industrial lasers fired, not at the Valari ship's hulls but at their sensor arrays, temporarily blinding them. Mining drones swarmed like insects, attaching to engine ports and disruption points Sung-Ho had identified. When the first Valari ship fired, the Resilience was already moving in an unexpected pattern. The magnetic grapples shot out, their fields, disrupting the Valari ship's maneuvering thrusters. They're adapting their tactics, Commander Trex shouted to his crew. Predictive targeting is failing. On the mining station, a small team led by Lieutenant Mina had secretly docked during the confusion. Using mining tools as weapons, they freed the hostages. As his ship's systems failed one by one, Commander Trex remembered Earth's warning too late. Should conflict arise, run. The Valari had not run. Now they watched in growing horror as the supposedly outmatched humans transformed from prey into something else entirely, improvising weapons, changing tactics mid-battle, seeming to grow more effective under pressure. The Council observers recorded everything. Humans didn't fight like any species they had encountered before. They fought like they evolved too. The news of the Jupiter incident spread through Galactic Council space like wildfire. In the Grand Council, chamber on Centauri Station, raised voices echoed off the crystal walls. For the first time in 300 years, the 12-member species openly argued during a formal session. Representative Kell of the warlike Eskar stood on his platform, 4 arms gesturing wildly. The evidence is clear. Humans must be contained. Immediately. The Volari fleet was 3 times their size, yet 1 human ship defeated them using mining equipment. His voice rose to a shout. Mining equipment! The Volari attacked first, countered Ambassador Prill of the peaceful Nurani. The humans were defending their people. The Grand Speaker Tolo raised his hand for order, but tensions ran too high. The Galactic Council, stable for millennia, was fracturing over one primitive species from a backwater star system. On the lower level, 2 council representatives spoke quietly while the debate raged. "You've studied human history?" asked Zira of the Tauri. "Yes," replied Elder Malk of the ancient Zorians, "and they are exactly what we feared." "Dangerous? Unique," Malk corrected. "We've encountered 12,000 species over our history. Only 3 showed the human pattern." The chamber fell silent as Elder Malk floated to the center speaking. Platform. When a Zorian spoke, all listened. Their species had explored the galaxy when most council races were still evolving. Council members. Malk's voice was soft but carried to every corner. The Zorian archives hold records of species, like humans. Their adaptation response is rare. Such species follow one of 2 paths, self-destruction or galactic dominance. Murmurs filled the chamber. Ambassador Priel leaned forward. "Which is more common?" "Self-destruction," Elder Malk replied. "Their adaptability becomes their downfall. They advance too quickly, develop technologies they cannot control, and extinguish themselves." "Then we should wait," Kell interrupted. "Let them destroy themselves." "And if they don't?" asked Zira. Elder Malk's many eyes blinked slowly. "Then they become unstoppable. The last such species we encountered built the Omega Gate network before disappearing. We still use their technology today, 50,000 years later." The council chamber erupted again, this time in fear. The Omega Gates were the foundation of interstellar travel, and no one had ever understood how they worked. Meanwhile, on Earth, the leaders of humanity gathered in the underground Global Security Center beneath the New Geneva complex. President Han had called an emergency meeting following the Jupiter incident. Commander Gina Kim stood before them, giving her report. "The Volari have withdrawn from Jupiter space. They've filed a formal protest with the Galactic Council, claiming, 'We used illegal weapons.'" "Mining equipment," General Junho clarified, a hint of pride in his voice. Captain Do-hyun showed remarkable creativity. President Han nodded. "Captain Do-hyun acted exactly as we hoped, defending our people without escalation. The question is, what happens next?" Dr. Mina Yoon, recently promoted to Director of Xenobiology, displayed images on the main screen. "Our intelligence suggests the Council is divided over how to respond. 3 factions have emerged." The screen showed alien faces grouped into categories. The containment faction wants to isolate Earth, possibly through a military blockade. The engagement faction believes we should be reconsidered for membership, and the observation faction wants to study us further before deciding. "President," Han studied the information. "What's your recommendation, Dr. Yoon?" "We prepare, but not for war," she replied. "The Volari underestimated us because they didn't understand human adaptability. We should focus on technological independence, developing systems that don't rely on council technology or trade." Defense Minister Yoon-ha Park nodded in agreement. "I suggest Project Sanctuary. We've been developing self-sufficient habitats on Mars and in the asteroid belt. We should accelerate those efforts." "Agreed," said President Han. "Earth will not be caught unprepared again." Back on Centauri Station, 3 council representatives met secretly in a secured chamber. They represented the Nurani, the Tauri, and the Lomai, species known for their diplomacy and trade. "The council majority is making a terrible mistake," said the Narani ambassador. "Treating humans as enemies will only ensure they become exactly that." "What do you propose?" asked the Lomai representative. "A separate agreement. Not council membership, but a direct alliance with our three species. The council would never approve." "We won't ask them," the Narani replied. "Sometimes the wisest path lies outside established rules." The three representatives touched hands in agreement. The first crack in the Galactic Council's unity had formed, a crack that would soon become a chasm. 6 months after the Jupiter incident, Commander Gina Kim found herself once again approaching Centauri Station. This time her ship was not alone. 3 alien vessels, bearing the markings of the Narani, Tauri, and Lomai, flew in formation with the Earth flagship Harmony. "Commander, we're receiving docking instructions," said Lieutenant Suho Park. "The council station appears to be on high alert." Gina nodded calmly. Much had changed since her first visit. Earth had transformed its defensive capabilities, not through traditional weapons but through innovation. The Harmony itself was a testament to this approach, a ship designed to adapt to almost any threat. "Open a channel to our escort vessels," she requested. The view screen showed 3 alien faces: Ambassador Prill of the Narani, Trade Minister Zira of the Tauri, and Science Director Volu of the Lomai. "We're about to make history," Gina said. "Are your government still committed to our agreement?" "The Narani stand with Earth," Ambassador Prill confirmed, her translucent skin glowing with a soft blue light. "As do the Tauri," added Zira. "The Lomai remain committed," said Volu. "The old ways must change." When they docked at Centauri Station, a much larger reception party awaited them than during Gina's first visit. Security forces lined the corridors, watching the humans with a mixture of fear and curiosity. In the 6 months since Jupiter, Earth had changed its approach to galactic politics. Instead of seeking council membership, President Han had authorized direct negotiations with individual species. The Narani, Tauri, and Lomai, impressed by humanity's restraint during the Valari attack, had reached out secretly. The result was the Harmony Accord, an alliance outside council jurisdiction. Gina walked through the station corridors. She was flanked by an unusual delegation. Dr. Mina Yoon led a team of scientists. Artists and musicians followed. Teachers and farmers came next. And only at the back walked military personnel, led by Captain Do-hyun Lee, hero of Jupiter. The Grand Council chamber looked exactly as Gina remembered, except now all 12 platforms were filled with representatives watching them with tense anticipation. Grand Speaker Tolo rose. "Commander Kim, you were informed that Earth's application was rejected. Why have you returned?" Gina stepped forward. "Honorable Council, I come not to request membership, but to inform you of a new development. Earth has formed an independent alliance with the Narani, Tauri, and Lomai peoples." Gasps and angry murmurs filled the chamber. Representative Kell of the Esker pounded his platform. "This violates council law. Member species cannot form separate alliances." Ambassador Priel moved to stand beside Gina. "We have not violated any laws. The Harmony Accord is a cultural and scientific exchange, not a military alliance." "Then why is he here?" Kell pointed at Captain Do-hyun. "To demonstrate who we truly are," Gina replied. She gestured, and Dr. Mina stepped forward. "Council species evolved for stability," Dr. Mina explained. "Humans evolved for adaptability. You fear us because you don't understand us." She activated a small projector, showing images of Earth's recent achievements, teams of humans and aliens, working together on Mars, terraforming what the Council had classified as an uninhabitable world. "You denied us a seat at your table," Gina continued, "so we built our own, and invited those who share our vision." Elder Malk of the Zorians floated forward. "What is this vision, human?" "A galaxy where difference is strength," Gina replied. "Where adaptation is valued, not feared." She turned to the delegation behind her. At her signal, the Earth artists stepped forward. They began a performance that combined human music with Nurani light patterns, Tauri movement traditions, and Lomai harmonic fields. The beauty of their combined art filled the chamber. When it ended, Gina spoke again. You feared we would become a destructive force. Instead, we offer creation. You worried we would disrupt the order of things. Instead, we offer new possibilities. Grand. Speaker Tolo studied her for a long moment. The council must consider these developments. Of course, Gina agreed. But know this. The path forward has already begun. 4 species working together have accomplished what none could alone. Others will join us. Not in opposition to the council, but as a demonstration of what's possible when fear gives way to cooperation. As they left the chamber, Captain Do-hyun smiled slightly. Do you think they understand now? Gina watched as station residents, aliens from dozens of worlds, approached the Earth delegation with curious questions rather than fearful stares. They're beginning to, she said. Our warning wasn't a threat. It was an invitation to understand us before judging us. Far below them on Mars, human and alien teams were bringing life to red soil. Earth had found its place among the stars, not by demanding a seat at someone else's table, but by building something new. The old warning still stood. Facing humanity as enemies would be dangerous. But now there was a new message spreading across the galaxy. Facing humanity as friends might change everything.